Welcome one, welcome all to a slate I have been waiting for all day. A slate that honestly pits two of the best teams in the wild card conversation a little bit, right? I'm not going to say the Bengals are better than any of the Chiefs or Bills or anything like that, but hey, the seventh seed is on the line. That's what they're playing for, is the seventh seed. And no better way to try and gain ground than trying to beat the Chargers as well, who have been absolutely clicking. Herbert has looked absolutely insane. But as always, I am joined by the one, the only Curtain Call. Kurt, how are you doing, man?
Pretty good. Another great day of NFL Classic. It was a great slate. Everyone had a fun time. Everyone won all the money. It was good.
Perfect. You know, it should be a better slate tonight. Hopefully,
I think it's a good game. I think it's a really good game.
I think it is too. I genuinely, I'm excited to watch this one, which isn't always the case. I just hate, like I was talking to you before the show, I got like every fade right. I'm like, look, I don't want Boutet, I don't want Esteban stuff, and that stuff just didn't matter if I didn't have 46-point Taysom Hill. But hey, we live and we move, and hopefully tonight is the night that we take down part of that. What is it, 250K up top or 300K? I can't remember, but we'll see about that. Kurt, I got two teams here. I'm going to go ahead and go over their stats real quick. All right. So, Bengals side of the ball, we know how weak they are defensively, right? Mm-hmm. We have them 23rd in yards allowed per game, 23rd against the pass, coincidentally, and then 17th against the run. What we tend to avoid against the Bengals is the slot, because they give up top 8 in the league against the slot, just in terms of yardage allowed. But they also concede a lot to wide receivers who line up out wide and tight ends. For the Chargers, here's their stats. They're 6th in the league in yards allowed. But also, I want to mention, this doesn't take strength of schedule into fact at all. The Chargers honestly haven't played many good teams lately this year. This is one of their first true tests, and not really one of their tests offensively, but one of their tests to try and just eke out a win. I mean, the last team they played with a winning record, I believe, was the Cardinals, who they ended up losing to despite a Herbert masterclass. Again, 6th in yards allowed, 9th in passing yards allowed, 9th in rushing yards allowed. We also, this is a tough one, because when I was looking at avoid against, the Chargers are above average in a lot of categories. And I didn't know whether there's not really a glaring red spot where you avoid them. There's not really a glaring spot where you really go against them. However, last week they were weak against wide receivers that lined up out wide, and the slot is something that they're above average at. So it's just one of those things, Kurt, where the Chargers are seemingly pretty good in all facets, and that includes offensively and defensively, but they're not great. While the Bengals have been incredible offensively, but really weak defensively. What's your take on this matchup here?
They can get beat deep. The Chargers defense, I think there's been a couple of times where if the offensive line can give some time, they can get beat deep, which is probably why out wide makes a lot of sense out wide with the wide receiver ones, which is funny because I'm actually going to be lower on Chase this evening. That's kind of like my hot take. I want to be a little bit lower on Chase just because of a pricing thing. And he's coming off that 58 burger. So I want to be lower on Chase. But yeah, I mean, both teams actually do well against the run too. You got Gus Edwards back, who had 10 carries last week, and he had Hassan Haskins getting carries, like in a game that wasn't truly a blowout. So it makes Dobbins really not fun to roster. Chase Brown priced up, but I mean, I think I might just take it. He's on that Mixon role, and it's just awesome. He's just eating a bunch of points. We've not heard anything. I don't know how connected you are with Herbert's involvement. It could be bumped up a little bit today, but I still think they're kind of like the Sean McVay. They really want to run one guy. It's no matter, even this year, it kind of seemed like they were trying to get to that point. They were happy to finally get to it when someone got hurt.
So Chase Brown was definitely winning the battle between him and Moss. And then Moss, unfortunately, had a neck injury, turns out, after the year, right? That's what it looks like. He's going to be missing out the rest of the season. Brown had 9 catches last game. That's something that people just didn't really associate with him, is that he's going to be like this PPR menace, because what we saw earlier this season was Zach Moss actually got a lot of the passing work. Chase Brown really wasn't that guy. However, Chase Brown is very effective in all facets of the game. But we have to mention, Khalil Herbert has been with the team for 12 days now. When he first joined the Bengals, they had 2 days later, they played the Ravens. He had 1 carry. It was a fumble on an exchange with Burrow. So I expect Khalil Herbert's role to increase. He's definitely way better than Travion Williams that they got back there. So Herbert's definitely going to be involved a little bit. But I'm not worried at all of Chase Brown even threatening below a 70% share. And either way, Chase Brown is much more effective in the pass game than Khalil Herbert, as we know in his days in Chicago, really wasn't that effective. Like, we'll get to running backs here in a second, but Chase Brown is my guy. Also have a note here too, just when Bengals play opposing teams, they try and take away their best weapon. They clearly tried to limit Derrick Henry both times they played the Ravens and force Lamar to throw. Whenever they go against a team like, the Chiefs or whatever, they make Pacheco beat them. I really feel like you're going to kind of see a very similar path here to where like, hey, we'll let you run with dusty J.K. Dobbins and dusty Gus Edwards all day long. We'll try and keep what's in front of us because, we don't want Herbert to beat us. And that's one approach that I'm kind of just in the back of my head, Kurt. But it is very easy to get both quarterbacks, I think, tonight with a little bit of the value that just jumped out. We're going to talk about quarterbacks here in just a second, but I want to go over some inactives for the slate. For the Bengals, left tackle Orlando Brown is out. You also have Sheldon Rankins out, as you can hear some dogs in the background. We also have, for the Chargers, this one is big news here, Khalil Mack out, so that hurts the pass rush a little bit, but it kind of cancels out with Orlando Brown missing out. Hayden Hurst is out for this one. So Hurst has not been much of a factor in this offense over the last 4 or 5 weeks, but he is officially out. Stone Smart will stoke up a few extra snaps. DJ Chark out. Jalen Reagor is the clear wide receiver 4 in this offense now, as well as Fehoko being placed on IR. And I think that's about it for the inactives, Kurt. Let's go ahead and get the quarterbacks. What are you doing with Herbert and Burrow tonight?
I mean, how do you not love Herbert, especially after like last week? They're doing design runs to the guy now. It's a nut matchup. It's at home. I mean, how do you not just love Herbert? I know I do. He'll be in every one of my lineups. I think you can easily fit Burrow in there too, but if you had to prioritize one, it's going to be Herbert for me.
Yeah, I look at Herbert and
I think you can put Herbert captain too.
Well, that's very much in the cards because you look at Herbert. Look at his rushing yards over the past few games. He also had a very designed QB draw, QB run basically last game for a touchdown. He had 9 attempts last game, 32 yards. 2 games before that, he had 49 yards on the ground. Herbert is getting healthier. We also have to mention that beginning of the season, he had a foot injury. He also got hurt against the Steelers. An ankle injury is still maintained. I think he is finally getting to the point where he is fully healthy. And we have seen that over the last few weeks. This is arguably the best football that Justin Herbert has played. So I'm very much with you, Kurt. My only fear is, again, the way the Bengals game plan. They're going to try and make the Chargers just run, keep everything in front of them, limit the big plays that Quentin Johnson has been succeeding on, especially with Herbert. But for both these guys, they are very much in the mix at captain because Jamar Chase is $12K, $18K in the captain. That's a lot. But you go look at Burrow, he's $10,600, $59 in the captain. That's a lot cheaper. Justin Herbert, not like he has a clear number one, wide receiver who can really take those the captain ownership. Or J.K. Dobbins, we're not clicking him in the captain tonight, not after he was a split carry with Gus Edwards last week. That's why both these quarterbacks are very good in the captain. And honestly, I was trying to build with Herbert in the captain earlier, but I did need a little bit of extra wiggle room in my lineup, Kurt. But yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. Do you want to add anything on the quarterbacks before we move on to what we've kind of already mentioned, but running backs?
This is the most I've wanted to, on a non-Josh Allen, non-Lamar Jackson slate, this is the most I've wanted to captain a quarterback. I mean, because Burrow, too, because I want to be lower on Chase. I think you can captain Burrow, and maybe Chase does just enough to not be on the optimal. Like, he doesn't score, but maybe gets like 90 yards, like 5 catch or something, but he's not optimal. And then you get the Burrow captain and just get all the other touchdowns somewhere else. Herbert, obviously, with the rushing upside and stuff like that. And, I mean, like, they're taking away the best weapon. Like you said, Cincinnati likes to take away the best weapon. They're good in the slot. Who would that be? They're probably going to try to take away Ladd McConkey. That's just how it is. So, I mean, you can really put these guys in the captain and fade their best weapon, and it makes you super unique and a way to get to the top.
Yeah, it is very, very interesting and something that we'll have to monitor moving forward. Real quick, Kurt, I'm going to hit a Zach Edey prop because for some reason, DraftKings keeps putting Zach Edey at very disrespectful props mid-game. So I'm hitting his 9 points. He only needs 2 more for a plus 105 to hit.
So my internet is – sorry. Did you get it all out?
Yeah.
My internet's so bad, and I had to go out and reset it, but that would just be a waste of time. We only have like 30 minutes before it locks. So we're just going to have to deal with my blurriness. It says I have 1 bar on here. I just got to go outside and flip a switch, but that would literally be like 5 or 10 minutes. So we're just going to have to gut it out.
We'll gut it out. Remember,
what does it look like? Can someone send me a picture? Landon,
it's pretty bad.
I want to see. I imagine it's bad. Just give me 1 bar. So
I think honestly, Kurt, you could reset it, and I think we'd be good.
Okay.
For a little
bit. Bad?
Okay, you're not moving on my screen at all. But hey, I'm going to talk about running backs while you do that. Okay. So the running back position here, as Kurt mentioned before we did all this, is that it is now a split in Los Angeles. So in week 10, what we saw was Gus Edwards return from the IR. So if we go to week 10 here and we go look at just rushing, you'll see a pretty even split, and also Hassan Haskins being able to get a goal line carry that he ended up converting. So the biggest thing when you're looking at the Chargers here is to note that this isn't the J.K. Dobbins role that we saw for the past 6-7 weeks when Gus Edwards is out. It is now officially just a split backfield like we saw coming into the season. So in week 10 last game, we saw, what was the touch split? 15 attempts for J.K. Dobbins and 10 for Gus Edwards. And then Justin Herbert even ran it himself 9 times, while Hassan Haskins also interfered with 2 himself. So when you're looking at these running backs here, Gus Edwards is going to pop off the page. You know why? Because he's 3,400. J.K. Dobbins is 10K. That's very, very different when you're just looking at the pricing on these 2 running backs. A lot of people are going to click Gus Edwards' name because he's one of the best values on this slate. And you know he's probably going to at least get involved, maybe on a goal line carry or 2. And we all always know what Gus Edwards is capable of in that offense, especially a Greg Roman offense like this. J.K. Dobbins is going to be incredibly low owned today. Again, it's all just because of his role kind of being slightly diminished. If you still said 15 carries, that we still got a chance to hit it. But me personally, I'm not on it. Kurt doesn't sound like he's on it. And I'm splitting the 2 right now. So let's go ahead and just fix this real quick. As far as the Bengals go, you're going to see Khalil Herbert, I would say, meddle just slightly. So when you look at Khalil Herbert, coming over from the Bears, he's a very effective player, as we saw, just running the ball. But as far as a pure rusher goes, as Kurt keeps flashing in and out, as far as a pure rusher goes, Khalil Herbert is very good. As far as pass blocking and catching the ball, he is not very effective out of the backfield. So I fully expect Chase Brown to still maintain 70-75% of the touches, be one of the best options on this slate. 9,600 may seem like a lot for a guy you were not even paying $6K for to start the year. But again, he might be the running back number 1 for the rest of the season. And that, you just saw 27 points in one of the toughest matchups against the Ravens last week is no fluke. So Kurt, your too long didn't read is I'm off Dobbins. I think Edwards is a good play. And I think Chase Brown is very, very good tonight still, despite the inflated tag.
How's the internet look? How's look better?
It's great. It's 10 times
Bro,
better.
it's crazy. Every once in a while, you just gotta go out there and press the button, and then it's like brand new. So
I always blame my internet or my bad 2K play on the internet, so I always reset it, once a day.
Boom, there you go. So I think I agree, but I want to kind of bring up, when we are fading Dobbins, we need to know what we're at risk. That he's broke what feels like 3 70-yard touchdowns this year. Maybe 3 over 50, it feels like. So just be aware of that. I mean, you could be really tilting that. So if you want to hedge yourself by betting long touchdown or something for him, I don't know if that's possible. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's not a good play. Like, in theory, it's not a good play. With that price, getting split, Hassan Haskins come from Michigan. Like, why is he getting a carry? I don't know. But it's probably just going to be Edwards. But still, it's enough to tell me. I actually think Edwards might fall in the box tonight. What a B-near. So yeah, just I don't think it's a good play, but bad plays get there all the time. So when he rips off a 55-yarder, don't get mad at us. It's just bullshit NFL, like it always is.
Like Westbrook Ikine getting a 98-yard touchdown.
I almost played him in my freaking Sam Darnold. I had a lot of Titans. I had that called Titans.
Just seeing a guy like that get a little bit of ownership, and like he just.
Oh, he did? What was he owned?
He was owned a little bit. I think one of the contests I clicked on, he was like high owned. He was like literally over 5-6% or whatever for a guy.
Yeah, the MVS thing was really tilting because he there was a lot of scenarios where he finishes with like sub-3 fantasy points.
Yeah, Spencer. Yeah, you're right. Herbert has been throwing more lately. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think he's top 5 personally. However, it's like the Bengals, whenever they go against these type of teams, they do prefer that they keep the ball out of Herbert's hands and just running Dobbins and Gus Edwards and run the ball down their throat a little bit more than Herbert throwing it. All right, wide receivers. So I'm going to look at ownership here, Kurt, because I haven't really looked. I haven't ran my stuff just yet. I'm about to here in just a second. I did run my main team, and I actually have a really good main team. We haven't even talked about my captain yet, who we'll talk about in a little bit. But right now, projected score-wise, if I just did my top 20 teams or whatever, I don't get any Jamar Chase. I don't get any T. Higgins or Ladd McConkey captain. However, in the flex, I see them populate quite a bit, because I think it's just one of those slates where it's very tough to get Jamar Chase in general. He is actually projected to be pretty low owned for what his production is. He's actually projected to be lower than 50% owned, if you believe it or not, Kurt. So when we look at a guy like Jamar Chase, Does that make you want to captain him more now, knowing that he's going to be a little bit under-owned?
Yeah, I think it kind of puts me. I want to be lower on him for sure still, but maybe lower on him in the flex. Maybe try to be over. I'm not going to max tonight, but I'm entering like 7 to 8, and maybe be over on him in the captain spot, and throw like Stone Smart in there or like Gus Edwards, just to kind of still even it out a little bit. Which I'm sure others who captain Chase will be doing that, but I don't give a shit. So yeah, captain or really bust for me in Chase. I think he either has a big game or he doesn't hit the winner. Is that crazy?
So you said captain or bust? Basically?
Captain or I'm not taking him.
I'm going to disagree with you. All right, but here's the thing. I think one of Higgins or Chase do well. I don't like stacking.
I mean, that's a logical take.
Yeah. Oh God,
Zach. I'm saying you're logical.
Yeah. Zach Edey's help to the locker room, Kurt. Tough scene. Help to the locker room right after I bet that. Sick. Jamar Chase is still my guy, though. I look at it. I think in flex he can be optimal, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to play Chase Brown. I'm trying to play Burrow. It leaves me one spot for a Cincinnati wide receiver. And it's also got to be mentioned with Higgins back. He hurts all the role players in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Not Chase, but he kills Yosevas. He kills Gesicki. He kills Jermaine Burton a little bit. So really, these are the only two wide receivers that I really care about. I like Tanner Hudson still, who we haven't talked about just yet. But when we talk about I don't know. I really like Jamar Chase or Higgins, and that's it from the Cincinnati wide receiver group. I don't care about Yosevas. That's a fade. Look, his role has already been diminishing. It was diminished last week with Jermaine Burton getting more of a role of 5 targets. It's going to be even diminished more with T. Higgins being healthy. So all these guys, I mean, maybe you can make the case for Jermaine Burton and stuff, but really it's a 1-2 game of Chase and Higgins. And right now, I have the salary for Chase, Kurt. But if I was captaining a stud, which I'm not, a little foreshadowing there, I would go Higgins over Chase. But since I can fit him in the flex, I have no problem doing it.
When you talk about Mike Gesicki losing some slot snaps, that sucks with Higgins back.
This is a good one. LaMelo Ball got fined $100K
for saying, but I saw the interview. What did he say? I saw it, but I didn't listen to it. I was in a crowded area.
No, it was funny. But yeah, here, give me your take on the Chargers wide receiver room, because this is also new. DJ Chark is out, right? Like he's inactive. He's a healthy scratch. Hayden Hurst also a healthy scratch and stuff.
Chark played all year?
No, not really. It was on IR and stuff, but he was back last week and played 1 snap. However, this is Jalen Reagor. He's the wide receiver 4 in this team. He also fits a lot of my teams, Kurt. Jalen Reagor. I don't like him as a football player. I think he's a bust. I think Herbert can make anyone look good. Look what he's doing with Quentin Johnston this year.
How much is Reagor? How much is Reagor?
600.
Okay.
You know how I can fit Chase and Burrow and Herbert and Brown.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, it's like playing Stone Smart. It's like, man, yeah, I don't mind it.
This is good. Yeah, when you asked me what did he say after getting $100K fine, that was great.
Is that bad?
No, it wasn't that bad, but yeah, it's just I thought it was a joke of a fine. But
I'm a big on the Quentin Johnson, baby, your boy.
You're big on Quentin Johnson
this year, this role.
You like him tonight?
I do like him tonight.
You don't? Why?
What do you mean? Why?
You're buying at the peak. You
like Palmer?
I like Jalen Reagor and McConkey and Disley.
I think Johnson or Palmer outscored McConkey.
Why?
Just because what do you mean you started the show talking about it? What do you mean? They try to take away the best player and they're great against the slot. I mean, I look at the slot numbers. Cincinnati's amazing against the slot. They got Ladd out there and 12 personnel. They got Ladd out there. 12 personnel. We're putting Ladd out there as a 1 receiver. Fuck no. They're putting Johnson out there.
McConkey is the best receiver.
I mean, coming into the year, I'm a big McConkey guy. In fact, I don't think it's a good spot. I'm still going to play him because I love the guy. I loved him. Played him at Georgia. I played him everywhere. But my 2 hottest takes are I'm going to be lower on Chase, Dobbins, and McConkey.
Hey,
just
Taylor,
because, it's just a numbers thing. Like he'll probably still get force fed too.
Taylor, I appreciate the shout. Nice. I saw the cash out was suspended 2 minutes ago, and yep, thank you. I cashed out of it just now too. I appreciate you putting in that check. I wouldn't have checked. All right, thank God, man. All right, but yeah. So Kurt, that's good points. McConkey, the Bengals are great against the slot. That's McConkey's main role. I do think he's good enough and cheap enough to where it's like 8,200. Herbert can make anyone look good. And that's the case in point to Quentin Johnson, too. You can make anyone look good. Look at what QJ is doing this year. And I get what you're saying. And that's a good point. I don't have McConkey in my main team.
I did. So he was actually, what's fun? So I'm going to be lower on him, but he actually made my first team, which is funny.
Oh.
He's not on yours, but he made my first team. But I don't think he's going to have a great game today.
Yeah, no, that's interesting there too. So I'm going to say this about Rieger, and this is one thing too. Like the Chargers didn't have to throw the ball last week, so we didn't really get a true sense of which Charger active. How was that going to look? However, in week 9, so this is a big thing for me. In week 9, we actually saw this Chargers team drop back a ton. So here I have it up, and Rieger had 16 routes, like almost ran a route and half the dropbacks for Justin Herbert. So that's like, look, we're trying to find these small edges, right? And I know that we're the two who dig up probably the dustiest plays in the world. We love our 200. We love our 400 guys and stuff like that, right? Week 9, Rieger ran 13 routes, right? Just in comparison, Quentin Johnson ran 23. Josh Palmer ran 22. I need a value bad. That's why I'm on Rieger. He got 2 targets. He made a big play a few weeks ago as well. And also should have scored against the Cardinals, but fumbled at the 1-yard line out of bounds. So like, I just think Rieger is a guy who just makes the slate work, gets me the studs I want. And look, I'm high on Higgins. Like I don't know if I made that clear, but like I have to pick between Higgins or Chase, and right now I'm going Chase, Jamar that is, and I'm also going Chase Brown over Higgins. Like if I had to rank them, it would be 1, 2, 3, just in the salary that are listed. But Rieger he allows me to fit everything I want, and 600, big fan of him tonight, Kurt. All right. Let's go to tight ends, unless you wanted to add anything. But we have
tight ends. I mean, I feel like I've been telling I'm going to be low on everyone. I'm playing both the quarterbacks and Will Dissly in every single lineup.
Dissly's a great play.
Dissly's a fucking smack. Like if he does bad today, just know that it's none of your guys' fault. It's my fault because everyone I touch turns to dust today.
So let's case in point. Dissly has won this role completely, and only on.
The other guy's out. Hayden Hurst is rolled out, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing: Hayden Hurst has been a complete non-factor for weeks.
But he's been taking out
3 routes. He ran 3 routes last week.
Yeah, last week, I think he got hurt again, right? Is when he got hurt again.
No, he's not hurt.
But the 2 weeks prior to that, he was actually affecting Dissly's role. He was making Dissly's role like shitty.
No.
Not last week. The 2 weeks before that, he had 3 great games where Hurst was out, came back, there was a dip in production, and then he went back up last week. What do you mean? How do you not see that?
He was out week 8. He came back week 9 and 10 and was a non-factor in both those games.
I'm saying he affected Dissly's production.
I'm with you, Kurt. However, he did not affect.
He's up there balling.
I like Dissly for his role and his trust with Herbert. And there was also a Coach Speak Index thing. Like I said, I love that account, the Patreon there on Twitter and stuff.
But
Dissly and Herbert have that special connection, is what Harbaugh said. They do.
But bro, he was taking up snaps. Like Hurst was taking snaps for a little bit for no reason.
Beginning of the season,
his targets got cut in half. What do you mean?
The beginning of the season. Hey, come on. Now, the beginning of the season, yes, you're correct. The last 6 weeks, not at all. Hurst came back a few weeks ago, but has been a non-factor since the beginning of the year.
There was a 2-week stretch where the targets were cut in half.
Yeah, he wasn't effective in week 9 as much as he was in week 10 with 6 targets on 12 routes alone. We're both all right. Let's just go ahead and
we're jamming Dissly.
Would you captain Will Dissly tonight?
Yes, I think you can. I think you can captain him in Maine. Cincinnati's been terrible against tight ends.
So you would. So that's my thing. I'm captaining Will Dissly tonight.
We're such ridiculous.
We are such the we're yeah. This is good. Yeah, Green Ranger, right? The Dusty duo. Yeah, we're baby. Not double.
At least we're self-conscious about it. I mean, not self-conscious. At least we're self-aware of it.
We very much are. Like, look at this core here. Will Dissly, Jalen Rieger.
Yeah, I mean, you give away your bill, but let me see what it is.
Yeah, I gave it away. It's all good. I also wanted to go into the props wise here too, because when we look at Jalen Rieger and stuff, I don't know. It just looks fairly good when you have Will Dissly in the captain. It really does. I'm also going to mention, while you look that up here, Kurt, Tanner Hudson was the guy last week, and that was expected. I mentioned that on the show. Gesicki is not a tight end, right? I'm a Bengals fan. He is not a tight end. So when T. Higgins comes back, that hurts Gesicki. When Eric All was out, that doesn't help Gesicki, right? Gesicki will line up a little bit in a 3-point stance, but most of the time he's lined up in the slot or out wide. So when you see Eric All got ruled out for the season, just like literally 11, 12 days ago with his torn ACL, Tanner Hudson was the one who stepped up on Thursday Night Football, and I expect him to kind of maintain that role. I also expect Drew Sample to maintain a good role. both Sample and Hudson are good plays tonight. Like, I don't want to forget about those two. Look, we got great value. We have Disley, who we love. We talked about Gus Edwards being a fine play at 3,400. But I also think these two tight ends, Tanner Hudson and Drew Sample, might go overlooked a little bit because they are going to run plenty of routes tonight, Kurt. And I think that they're honestly two great filler plays. Like, if they were a last piece, I wouldn't hesitate at all putting Hudson or Sample in at all.
Yeah, Hudson's a dog.
Hudson
is. I'm not just saying that because last week, but when you give him snaps and you give him a couple of targets, usually good things happen.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's the greatest blocker.
Because you love preseason. You love preseason, right? Tanner Hudson was a hero for like 3 straight years. And he finally got his chance last year at the Bengals and stuff. So, I'm with you, Kurt. I'm 100% with you.
What do you think about Higgins' snap count tonight?
No snap count.
But so operating like say that a little bit last year, and then they're actually.
Then he played one snap and stuff. He practiced.
I don't think he's fully healthy though. I'm actually going to be bullish on Higgins tonight. Which is
good. He's 8,600. He's been great this year when healthy.
He's in the games they played. He's out targeted Chase.
Yeah,
every single game they played together.
God, now I might swing back the pendulum back to like a Herbert captain.
I mean, if you like Rieger so much, then that makes sense, and just play Chase.
Well, I can captain a stud. I don't have to play Chase, right? Like I can captain Herbert or Burrow.
And still play Rieger?
Oh yeah, I think Rieger. Here's the thing. Let's talk about snap counts. I already talked about how we like these two tight ends. Sample is 2,800, right? So anyone 2,800 and below, Rieger is going to run the most routes, get the most potential touches. Look, Hassan Haskins. I think Khalil Herbert, you can make the case of getting more touches than a guy like Jalen Rieger. But no one else is guaranteed burn. Like Jermaine Burton, if Jermaine Burton was 600, I'd be interested. And I think him and Rieger have the very similar roles for tonight. Like they'll run a route probably 12 to 13 times. And, I think Burton's a better talent and stuff, but he's also 2K more. So with Rieger, it just allows me to fit whatever I want.
Plus, I feel like you're biting on the play action a lot more when LA's running it instead of.
God, I just fear that we're going to get this Giants Bengals game that we saw 6 weeks ago or whatever, when it was just a barn burner, a low scoring game. I just hope we don't see that tonight.
I mean, definitely could. That's how most of the Chargers games have been.
Kickers and defenses. We got Dicker the kicker from Texas, Hook'em, and Evan McPherson from Florida. I think that sounds
right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Sounds right. Evan McPherson and Dicker the kicker, two of the best kickers for fantasy. I shouldn't say McPherson is anymore, but Cameron Dicker really is one of the best for fantasy. And then the two defenses here, Kurt. Do you like any of them more than usual, or you just kind of standing pat on those guys for the most part?
I mean, if you you gotta like Chargers defense. They're at home. Yeah. Burrow can give up literally 9 sacks. Like, he can give up 9 sacks, which that can lead to strip sacks, stuff like that. So I think how much are the Chargers D?
The Chargers D is 4,400. Red flag for the Chargers D. Khalil Mack is out.
I still think come on. I still think it gets the quarterback. It does hurt a little bit, but I still think they'll have no issue getting the quarterback. So I think you gotta have interest in Chargers D. Cincy, if you're a person who plays defenses, but I'd rather play the Chargers. And I think you gotta have interest in the kickers because this game could be very meh.
See, that's my worry. Is like the Bengals games have been absolute blasts, except for the one Sunday Night Football game with the Giants. So when I looked at the potential of this game being a little bit mad, the more and more I kept coming up like, man, if the Bengals just focus on the run, it could actually be shit. Like, it just genuinely could be that way. So here's to hoping that doesn't happen. But Kurt, let's go ahead and make a same game parlay here in a minute. First, I want you to give your favorite captain play of the night. And you might have already, but just to clear it up, who's your favorite captain play of the night and why? While I upload my teams into Saber.
Will Disley, great matchup. Getting all the snaps again, all the targets. He's having a great year. He's got great chemistry with Herbert, and he's cheap. And then second would probably be Mr. Herbert himself because he spreads it out. He spreads it out a lot. And like Ladd's in a tougher matchup. You got Palmer, you got Johnson, you got Disley, you got freaking Rieger, Stone Smart. You can throw it to freaking hell. You can throw it to Gus Edwards. Who knows? So I think Herbert captain is definitely alive. It'll be my second favorite captain.
I like it. All right. So we're going to make the same game parlay here in just a minute. If you guys have any questions, throw them into the chat. We'll be happy to answer them here. Beaner, you always play same game parlays. You went Burrow and Higgins 225 with Burrow and Higgins 225 plus and Higgins 70 yards. I like that a lot, actually. And McConkey 50 yards. I do like that. West Coast Gem, I hope you're right. Actually, I would love a 42-41 game where the Bengals win.
There ain't no mother way the Bengals are putting 41 on the Chargers defense. I'm in LA. I'm sorry. Just you must not know who coaches this fucking team anymore. This ain't look, buddy.
Tell me how the other Harbaugh did. Tell me how the other Harbaugh did against this team.
They could put up 30, but 41. Come on, West Coast.
Look, tell me how the other Harbaugh did.
Harbaugh will literally get naked and go fight everyone in the field before he gave up 41 points.
Andy, I do not like 5-1 tonight. I do hope for points and stuff, but I think both these teams have good price ranges in each category. Specifically, like I don't think there's one clear lean either way.
I think we need to talk about a lineup where this game is really, really gross tonight because I think it could get really gross. Just one, because I don't like to build them either. They're not fun, but man, there is a path where this game really stinks, and there's a lot of field goals, and it's a running back cut. It's like a Gus Edwards touchdown. And like something stupid for the Bengals. I think double kicker's live.
So there you go, Johnny. It's double kicker live. Kurt does think so.
I think you want to build that gross lineup, and then you can either go heavy on a defense with like a 4-2 or something.
You want me to play devil's advocate on that?
Yeah, please do, because I personally, it's really tough for me to make those lineups because I'm an offensive guy.
So the Bengals had several chances to kick long field goals last game and did not. And they just went for it and stuff. So that's my take on like that, right? I think it's like fine, don't get me wrong and stuff, but the Bengals did not want to kick field goals last game, right? You almost have to treat them like a Jake Elliott in that sense of with the Eagles, where they just don't really kick field goals all that often. And they're kind of leaning more and more into that a little bit. So it becomes a concern for me.
I like that.
Yeah, so
lower on McPherson then. So then just Dicker and Chargers defense would be the path for that lineup then. Or Chase Brown getting the catches.
Yeah, I like it. So Kurt, I'm going to go ahead and mention who's your favorite prop of the day. Should we just go ahead and hammer Will Dissly's over?
Yeah.
All right, 40 yards. Are we good with 40 plus yards?
Yeah. What's the receptions?
Well, 36.5 is minus 120. Receptions, that's a good one. I like the shout, Kurt. What just guess his receptions. Don't say completely over the amount. 4.5. I'd rather the yards, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we go. Just not to sound like Dak Prescott there, but the ownerships here are looking really nice here on Sabre. Really. The quarterback's the top stud. I'm getting exactly what I want and stuff. So this is actually looking good. So Dissly, we're going to do over 36.5 yards, okay? Minus 120.
Okay.
We're going to do Tanner Hudson over 1.5 catches.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's an easy game. Easy game.
A lot of play action, the 12 personnel.
Yeah. Why do we keep building right now? That's a winning lineup right there that we got. It's
a
parlay. Look at that. Tanner Hudson, that 1.5, I really like that for what it's worth. Gesicki's not going to line up with a foot in the ground, with a hand in the ground all that often. It's Hudson and Sample. I can get Sample's 1.5 is plus 190, which I actually don't hate. We're going to go down to rushing attempts, Kurt. Over under 7.5 rushing attempts for Gus Edwards. I don't know. J.K. Dobbins is 12.5. Justin Herbert's 3.5. Any of those interest you?
I mean,
yardage, Justin Herbert's 15.5. Edwards 31.5. Dobbins 53.5.
I think Herbert could get on scramble a little bit here.
Let's do the 15.5 on Herbert. I like that. I like that a lot.
Me too. Plus, Cincinnati has a respectable pass rush.
Very, very respectable.
God, I wish the Bucs had pass rush.
Let's do this. 12. It's tough. Now Sabre's not giving me the numbers I want. All right. So just to be clear, 15.5 yards on Herbert. So right now I got over 36.5 for Dissly, over 15.5 rushing yards for Herbert, and over 1.5 Tanner Hudson receptions. Now, one last thing I want to do really is also check out the receiving props on my guy, Chase Brown.
Yeah, I hammered that. I told you all last week. Or no.
You did Jahmyr Gibbs, who ended up getting there, yes.
Boom.
Man, the Chase Brown's 29.5. That's a little bit more than I want.
What's receptions?
Oh, let's do Higgins, 56.5, 4.5 for Chase Brown. So we need 5 catches in that one. Let's do T. Higgins, 56.5.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. So
what's Higgins receptions? I'm sorry. Sound like a broken record.
You're taking Chase Brown's receptions?
No, I'm wondering what Higgins is.
Oh, Higgins? It is. Are you ready? 4.5 as well. Minus 145.
Yeah, we'll take the yards. Yeah,
we'll take the yards. All right, I need one more. I need a touchdown scorer, Kurt.
Man, you want a semi-wild one? I think Gus Edwards falls in the box here.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that, bro. I was really hoping you wouldn't say that.
Can you pull up his goal line opportunities this year? Because I feel like he has a...
It was Haskins last week. That's my fear. It was Dobbins, then Haskins. Haskins got involved in that goal line carry. I'm gonna veto that Gus Edwards.
Why? Like why? He's not even like a burly guy. Like I don't get it. I think Gus falls in the box here.
I'm gonna veto it.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I mean, it's pretty wild.
Do we want to double down on Chase Brown?
That could work.
That could. You don't sound confident. I need a fifth leg for us to get to 20-1, so we can flip 50 into 1,000.
Yeah, probably would be Chase.
Chase Brown or Jamar?
Yeah. Chase Brown.
Okay. So, all right, 25-1. Here we go again. Oh, Vito wanted you to veto it. All right. Will Disley, receiving yards. Over 56.5, T. Higgins. Over 15.5, Justin Herbert rushing. Over 1.5, Tanner Hudson receptions with a Chase Brown reception to boot. 50 into 1310s, $1,310. Oh, yeah, nice. All right, perfect. And that is placed, Kurt. Let's go ahead and get it. Any other questions, throw them into the chat and stuff. We'll be happy to go up to lock. But if we don't get too many questions, we might head out of here just a little bit early. Kurt, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make a separate same-game parlay that kind of does my favorite props, and one of those is Tanner Hudson's reception prop. I think that's a joke. I think 1.5 is a great bet for the over there.
Bino says he's going to ruin your picnics.
All right, so and then we are going to go Will Disley yards. I'm gonna do a 2-man Will Disley prop there.
Big old Willie.
All right, DK pick 6. Eddie, I can give you one. Let's see if we got anything for tonight in the chat. DK pick 6 for tonight. We had VIP post one. I actually like this. Yosh less than 1.5 reception. Higgins more than 56.5. Disley more than 36.5. Those are receiving yards. And he's also got 3 others. I'll go ahead and give this one fully away. Burrow less than 267.5 passing yards. Herbert more than 240.5 passing yards. And then Dicker the kicker over 7.5 kicking points. So that is the DK pick 6. Hashtag DK Hart.
Chase doesn't go off tonight.
I don't know. I'm kind of riding the Disley captain, I think. Ride or die.
I can win $0 in this slate, but being there, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I am ice cold right now. Ice cold. That's my dog. How about a DK pick 6?
Yeah, we already gave that away. We're good.
A Kurt takedown would need a lot of stuff to happen. Chase to suck. McConkey to suck. McConkey to be mid, actually.
I'm getting a lot of McConkey.
As you should. He's a good price.
Yeah, I guess not that much. I'm I think 40%. All right. I think that's it. I'm doing that 2-man same-game parlay, Disley yards and Tanner Hudson receptions over. That is one of my favorite bets of the night there. Thank you again to whoever shouted out the Zach Edey cash out. That
Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor, thank you. The fact that being able to cash out an injury like that is money. I'm actually surprised DK let that slide.
Hero.
All right. Herbert does love his tight ends. Yes, Tyler. Hopefully he loves them some more too. I think Disley and him do have something good. And we're going to name this file the Disley file. And we are going to upload. God damn it. Boom. All right. Dan, any other questions? I'll give it a couple more minutes. We'll give away a core too. Hit the like button for us too. Let's give away. You know, we haven't given a big T core away in a while. You know that?
Yeah, what's he doing tonight?
Huh. His first touchdown's good.
That's true, Donnie. Shout out Outcast.
All right, before we go, hit the like button for us. Big T's core. Joe Burrow captain. Jamar Chase and Ladd McConkey. His first touchdown bet. This is always a good one. Again,
Big T hasn't put a cheap guy in his core since fucking Vietnam. Like who's the cheapie? He don't play none. He has an unlimited salary.
No, his first touchdown though was fire. I think
So I actually like that y'all added that because it kind of gives away the value you're on. Who do you put?
See that now you know the value he's on. It's a good one. Tanner Hudson.
I take it back. Guy knows ball. All right. There's his value. That's a good little build.
He is 35-1 for first touchdown. That's great.
I would love if the tight end, all the tight ends just a nut tonight.
Oh, we would love a tight end party, that's for sure. All right. For Kurt and for I, hopefully you guys have a great rest of y'all's night. Hopefully you had success in the main slate as well. We'll head out here a little bit early. Again, good luck tonight. Hope to see you at the top. Maybe we can share a chop together.